Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday celebration for Unity of Reading, Sunday, June 14th, and another beautiful, beautiful day to have an outside service. So today's daily word is divine order. Divine order is always unfolding in my life and in my world. As spring ripens into summer each year, new leaves transform bare trees into canopies of green. Tiny seedlings grow into sturdy plants and decorate the landscape with an array of beautiful blossoms. I marvel at the divine order demonstrated as the earth renews itself. I recognize that, even as the earth appeared barren in wintertime, new life was preparing to spring forth. I notice this pattern in my life. I may be demonstrating visible growth in my life, or like the earth in the winter, it may seem like my life is stagnant and barren. I remember that as the seasons of nature change, so do the seasons of my life. Even when it is not apparent to me, I know that divine order is always unfolding in my life and in the world. And from Mark 4:28, the earth produces of itself, first the stalk, then the head, then the full grain in the head. So daily word is perfect for today, as always, for my message. We say in Unity, there are no coincidences. Everything is in divine order and synchronistic. So the next few weeks, I would like to present a series of messages on living in the flow of life. First of all, I would like you to answer these phrases with what comes to your mind first. So how to just answer the question with the first thing that comes to mind. Life is. The world is. Love is. Relationships are. Many may answer with the well-known cliches, life is hard, life is a bitch, then you die, love hurts, relationships are difficult. If these are some of the answers you gave, those are the subconscious beliefs that are creating those very circumstances in your life. We must be aware of our thoughts and our words and truly know how powerful they are. The truth is, life is only hard because we make it hard. Life is supposed to be fun, living abundantly, experiencing life to the fullest. Life is supposed to be an exciting progression of synchronistic events that culminate in our good. If we believe that we are here to experience this type of life, and we're not, then we must know something that our negative thinking, error beliefs, and actions cut us off from the abundant life for which was planned for us. So why is this happening? Because we get so caught up in our old patterns and habits of thinking and actions, we can't listen to the voice of intuition and the calling of the universe. We are not in tune with the universe and cannot see those events which are lined up for us already. We lean to our own understanding and our own limitations and cannot see the possibilities that might await us. I found some remarkably interesting information I was preparing for this message today. I'm hopeful that some of what I present today will help you realize the potential that we all have inside, the God power that is just waiting for us to tap into, to realize that we all have the power of intuition and can live our lives experiencing incredible synchronistic events which lead to a fulfillment of our dreams. So we've all heard of intuition. I myself sometimes have a hard time distinguishing the voice of spirit from the voice of Nancy. Since I am a little bit more on the intellectual side, I tend to dissect every message and try to use logic to solve problems or figure out how things will work out, not using intuition. But by doing so, I cut myself off from any possibilities that I might not even be aware of. The Bible says, God has ways we know not of. His ways are ingenious. Why would I continue to follow my way when I know that God has even better ways? Well, I believe most of us have not been trained to follow our intuition. We've been trained to follow logic, take the proven path. Too many times we rationalize, debate, and discard our intuitive leads. Sometimes we don't follow our intuition because it seems too scary, because we don't believe we're ready for it, or we possess the ability to succeed. We cannot figure out how following our intuition would ever work out. The thing is, all those thoughts are coming from our human egoic mind, holding us back from the magnificent life we could be living if we learn to follow our intuitive leads and live life in synchronicity. So what exactly is intuition? And how do we increase our awareness of these things? The origin of the word intuition is a Latin verb intuere, which is usually translated as to look inside, or to contemplate. Another comprehensive review of intuition literature yielded this definition of intuition: effectively charged judgments that arise through rapid, non-conscious, and holistic associations. I believe we can think of it as being in tune with the universe. Deepak Chopra calls it eavesdropping on the mind of God. I like that one. Several researchers have contended that intuition is an innate ability that all humans possess in one form or another, and is arguably the most universal natural ability that we possess. Think about that. We all possess it. They also say the ability to intuit could be regarded as an inherited, unlearned gift. A common element also found in most discussions and definitions of intuition is that of affect or emotions. Although intuitions are felt, they can be accompanied by cognitive content and perception of information. Research and experience suggest that emotions are the primary language of intuition, and that intuition offers a largely untapped resource to manage and uplift our emotions, daily experience, and consciousness. There are three categories or types of processes the word intuition describes. The first type of intuition is often called implicit knowledge or implicit learning. It essentially refers to knowledge that we have acquired in the past and either have forgotten or did not realize that we had learned it. The brain matches the patterns of new problems or challenges with implicit memories based on our prior experience. The second type of intuition is what we call energetic sensitivity, which refers to the ability of the nervous system to detect and respond to environmental signals such as electromagnetic fields. It's very well established that in both humans and animals, nervous system activity is affected by geomagnetic activity. Some people, for example, appear to have the capacity to feel or sense that an earthquake is about to occur before it happens. It has been recently shown that changes in the Earth's magnetic field can be detected for about an hour or even longer before the large earthquake occurs, and some people can feel this. Another example of energetic sensitivity, which several scientific studies have verified, is the sense of being stared at, and I think we've all felt that already. The third type of intuition, and one that really intrigues me, is non-local intuition, which refers to the knowledge or sense of something that cannot be explained by past or forgotten knowledge or by sensing environmental signals. It has been suggested that the capacity to receive and process information about non-local events appears to be a property of all physical and biological beings, and this likely is because of an inherent interconnectedness of everything in the universe. Examples of non-local intuition include when a parent senses something is happening to his or her child who is many miles away, or the repeated successful sensing experienced by entrepreneurs about factors related to making effective business decisions. So let's put this all together. We understand that God is spirit, the universal energy which is everywhere. We know that everyone and everything is connected by this invisible network of God energy, and that unobserved energetic information is exchanged via this network. Those tapped into this God energy are living intuitively, able to pick up the signs and signals better than others. To live life in the flow, we need to first seek the kingdom of God, living from a place of love, compassion, and acceptance, and following the leads of our intuition. Lots of research has been done at the Heart Math Institute, and it shows that by adding heart or by adding love to our daily activities and connections produces measurable benefits to our own well-being and the well-being of others. Adding love translates into increased care and genuine connection with others and harmonizes the resistance between our own mind and heart. Adding heart is especially about practicing kindness and compassion, along with forgiveness and latitude in our interactions. Adding love increases the love flowing through our system, which can play a large part in solving the collective challenges of these transitional times. We're now at the dawn of recognizing that love is a new transformative intelligence. We know that we live in an energy world. We also know that love is the most powerful energy in the universe because God is love. Living from the heart means practicing the presence of God and living from that space of love at all times. HeartMath uses a term called coherence. Coherence is the state when the mind, the heart, and emotions are all in energetic alignment and cooperation. HeartMath Institute Research Director Dr. Roland McCratty says, it is a state that builds resiliency. Personal energy is accumulated, not wasted, leaving more energy to manifest intentions and harmonious outcomes. When the physiological coherence mode is driven by a positive emotional state, we call it psychophysiological coherence. This state is associated with sustained positive emotion and a high degree of mental and emotional stability. In states of psychosocial or psychophysiological coherence, there is increased synchronicity and harmony between the cognitive, emotional, and physiological systems, resulting in more efficient and harmonious functioning of the whole. But we really don't need to know that scientific research to tell us this. This has been taught by Jesus, Buddha, and all of the spiritual masters of the ages. Science is now just showing evidence to back it up. To me, living in a state of coherence is living in a state of elevated consciousness. It's yielding to our intuition and practicing the presence of God. It's moving toward the Christ consciousness which we all want to achieve. Research shows that the heart is the most powerful source of electromagnetic energy in the human body, producing the largest rhythmic electromagnetic field of any of the body's organs. The heart's electrical field is about 60 times greater in amplitude than the electrical activity generated by the brain. That's why emotions are more powerful than thoughts. This field of heart energy can be detected anywhere on the surface of the body. But furthermore, and this is important, the magnetic field produced by the heart is more than 100 times greater in strength than the field generated by the brain, and it can be detected up to 3 feet away from the body in all directions. This same rhythmic pattern also can transmit emotional information via the electrical magnetic field into the environment, which can be detected by others and processed in the same manner. Thus, information about a person's emotional state is encoded in the heart's magnetic field and is communicated throughout the body and into the external environment. This research shows the importance of our emotional energy as it is transmitted not only to our own bodies, but to all those around us. This shows why heartfelt emotion of love can be so transformative. The interaction between two human beings, such as a discussion between friends, say, is a very sophisticated dance that involves many subtle factors. Most people tend to think of communication solely in the terms of overt signals expressed through facial movements, voice qualities, gestures, and body movements. However, evidence now supports the perspective that a subtle yet influential electromagnetic or energetic communication system operates just below our conscious level of awareness. The ability to sense what other people are feeling is an important factor in allowing us to connect or communicate effectively with them. The smoothness or flow of any social interaction depends to a great extent on the establishment of a spontaneous entrainment or linkage between individuals. When people are engaged in deep conversation, they begin to fall into a subtle dance, synchronizing their movements and postures, vocal pitch, speaking rates, and length of pauses between responses. And as we are now discovering, important aspects of their physiology can also become linked and synchronized. I suppose this has a lot to do with the law of attraction, and we'll discuss the law of attraction in future messages. But this suggests that when a person is in a physiological coherent state, or let's just say a higher state of consciousness, living from love, he or she exhibits greater sensitivity in registering the electromagnetic signals and information patterns encoded in the fields radiated by others' hearts. Once individuals live in this state of consciousness, it is a common experience that they become much more attuned to other people and can detect and understand the deeper meaning behind spoken words. They often are able to sense what someone else truly wishes to communicate, even when the other person can't be clear about what he or she wants to say. Living in this state helps people to feel fully heard, speak authentically and with discernment, and promote greater rapport and empathy between people. Living from the heart, living from this state of love, Christ consciousness, is the way to live life intuitively. There's now a large body of documented rigorous scientific research on non-local intuitive perception that dates back more than 7 decades. A variety of experiments show it cannot be explained by flaws or experimental design or whatever. The results of many of the results of this non-local intuition absolutely blew me away. In a study published in Nature Neuroscience, researchers using brain scanners could predict people's decisions 7 seconds before the test subjects were even aware of making them. Study co-author John Dylan Haynes, a Max Planck Institute neuroscience scientist, concluded this: your decisions are strongly prepared by brain activity. By the time consciousness kicks in, most of the work has already been done. A meta-analysis of 9 experiments that measured psychological responses occurring before a future event that could not otherwise be anticipated through any known inference process revealed statistically significant research in 8 of the 9 studies in over 1,000 subjects. Subsequent to this, a researcher, by examining 26 studies, also concluded that a clear pre-stimulus response in psychological activity occurred before the unpredictable stimuli, despite the fact there is not yet any known explanation of the mechanisms for this finding. So basically, something is telling us what to do before we even consciously know what to do or have decided what to do. More research does need to be conducted, but all the studies so far show that thoughts can be predicted before they are even conscious. As the researchers note, similar techniques have been able to predict motor decisions between 7 and 10 seconds before they're conscious, and abstract decisions for up to 4 seconds before they're conscious. Scientists have long known that the brain prepares to act before you're consciously aware. And there's just a few milliseconds between when a thought is conscious and when you enact it. Those milliseconds give us a chance to consciously reject unconscious impulses. So there is compelling evidence to suggest the physical heart is coupled to the field of information not bound by the classical limits of time and space. This evidence comes from a rigorous experimental study that demonstrated the heart receives and processes information about a future event before the event actually happens. Let me say that again. Its evidence shows that the heart receives and processes information about a future event before the event actually happens. Wow. Remember, Proverbs told us, "For your Father knows the things you have need of before you even ask him. And it shall come to pass that before they call, I will answer." Could this pre-stimulus response be the leading of God? Could this be a message from the superconscious mind of God, preparing us to make the best decision? Could this be desires being implanted into our hearts by God? Because we know desire means of the Father. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. This is the promise that we've been given. Remember, there's shown to be that window of time for us to reject those impulses. Is that what's happening when we're not in tune to the awareness of these leadings? Is this our inner being showing us the path to take, and we're totally ignoring it? God is always, always trying to direct our paths. The question is, are we hearing it Are we listening? Are we paying attention, and are we following that direction? Or has our intellect shut it out? On Thursday evenings, we've been discussing the works of Florence Scovel Shinn. Many of her writings, along with Emily Cady also, reflect the power of being in tune with our inner leadings, following our intuitions. From her book, The Power of the Spoken Word, Shinn writes, "The Bible states, 'Trust in me, commit your ways unto me.' Committing your ways unto the Lord seems very difficult for most people. It seems, of course, to follow intuition. It means, of course, to follow intuition, for intuition is the magic path, the beeline to your demonstrations. Intuition is a spiritual faculty above the intellect. It is the still small voice, commonly called a hunch, which says, 'This is the way, walk ye in it.' I refer to intuition very often, for it is the most important part of spiritual development. Listen to that. It is the most important part of spiritual development. It is divine guidance. It is the God within. It is the eye which watches over Israel and never slumbers or sleeps. With it, nothing is unimportant. Acknowledge me in all thy ways, and I will make plain your path. Remember, despise not the day of small things, of seemingly unimportant events." It is very difficult for a person who has always followed the reasoning mind to suddenly follow intuition, especially people who have what they call regular habits. They're accustomed to doing the same thing every day at the same time, meals like clockwork. They get up at a certain time, go to bed at a certain time. Any deviation from this habit or plan upsets them. But we have the power of choice. We may follow the magic path of intuition or the long, hard road of experience by following the reasoning mind. The decision is ours. By following the superconscious, we attain the heights. In intuition are the pictures of eternal youth and eternal life, where death itself is overcome. We have the power to impress the subconscious mind with this picture of eternal youth and eternal life. The subconscious, being simply power without direction, carries out the idea, and we have our bodies transmuted into the body which can never die. Intuition should be yielded to in every area of life. Shinn related a personal story where she went shopping for a certain article of clothing. There were two stores she knew which carried this particular article, but one was known to be much more expensive than the other. As she was out, she had a strong urging to go into the more expensive store. She admitted that obviously her intellect and logical mind tried to persuade her to go to the cheaper store. She said her intuition was so strong, though, to go into this more expensive store that she followed the leading. She found the item she was looking for, and the sales clerk approached her and announced they were having a 2-for-1 sale on that item, and she could choose another one she liked and get them both for the same price as the first. She looked around and found something she liked even more than the first item, and bought them both for just a little over what she would have paid for one item at the cheaper store. How many of us would have gone into the more expensive store, or let our logical mind talk us into going to the cheaper store? Intuition feels like guidance from above, or some external connection, rather than a system of your brain. You might refer to this as the universe, source, divine, God, or other names of an all-empowering force. Science admits it does not know everything, and that's the whole beauty of it. With science, each recognized law or concept is purely a theory, accepted based on the weight of scientific evidence until a new theory comes along that challenges the previous one. An intuitive person is someone who knows and uses their intuition and generally has a feeling for something. Their channels are open. They recognize patterns and find meanings from underlying symbols, signs, and patterns of events. They know things from information they receive subconsciously. They display a level of thinking and sensitivity that sets them apart from others. They go with their gut, even though it may not always be the logical explanation, and they can't explain why. They trust it. They have the ability to pick up on meaningful things in the surroundings that others miss. They can literally feel the vibes. They think about things, and then they just happen. There's a lot of synchronicity in their life, and we will talk about synchronicity next week. They ask their spiritual guide, the universe or guide, for the answer, and it always responds. They trust their intuition to make a call. They are living in a higher state of consciousness, following the leadings of God. But then, we all have that intuitive power. It is not an ability exclusive to special people. So the choice is really up to you. Opening your channels to intuitive thinking and following the leading of spirit means loosening restrictions of prejudice and stilling the voice of logic. Meditate. Set the intention to be aware of intuition. Ask and then be mindful of the thoughts and signs which come to you. Be grateful for the leadings and, most importantly, act on them. As with anything else, we must practice, practice, practice. Just as a muscle atrophies without use, so our spiritual powers atrophy if we don't use them. But we have the choice to awaken these spiritual faculties which are innate so that we can live the life of abundance. Every time we identify and follow intuition, we will strengthen our intuitive powers. So I encourage you to maintain an inquisitive mind and stay open to the mystery of life and the mystery of God, and enjoy every blessing the universe is offering, because you deserve it. You are awesome, and so it is. I like to take these thoughts into meditation. And the meditation today, the intention for the meditation today is to help you tap into your intuition. To tap into the zone of your genius so that you can be creative and inspired in all that you do. So I invite you to get ready, get comfortable position. Feel free to change your position at any time during this meditation. As you take a deep breath in, become more relaxed as you exhale. When you're ready, you can close your eyes and take a deep, cleansing breath. Allow yourself to enjoy a few minutes of calm and peace. Know that there is nothing for you to do right now, nowhere to go. All your tasks, plans, to-dos can be a break and can wait for you until after this meditation. So you are free right now, free to enjoy these moments in peace. Any tension you feel in your forehead or on your face or on your jaw, just consciously relax. Relax all of it. Bring awareness to your tongue and see that it is relaxed. You can have it slightly touching the roof of your mouth and feel as your entire face is relaxed, at ease and in peace. Now I invite you to imagine that you are going on a hike into the forest and you begin walking on a trail. You know that in this forest there is something really, really wonderful and unique waiting for you. So you begin this quest to find your treasure. You start walking and you keep walking on this trail. You are super aware, observant, looking out for any signs of this unique treasure that is awaiting you. Notice now in your body how it feels to be this observant, to be this aware, to feel connected and awake. There's a beautiful trail that goes into the lush, green, thick forest. It's so thick that the daylight can barely make it through between the branches. And being a hot summer day, you enjoy that shade, that cool atmosphere on your hike. There's a nice, pleasant breeze blowing. So it's a very pleasant experience to walk on this path. You're filled with curiosity. But you are also content with the journey because you have this inner feeling, this inner knowing that sooner or later you will see this treasure that's been put there for you. So happily you go about enjoying the walk, seeing the flowers on the forest floor, admire the glistening rays of the sun that trickle in from behind the leaves. You are walking and walking and walking. And now you come to a spot where there is a giant tree with a bark so big, so broad, that you can actually fit inside of it. And in fact, there's a giant hole in the bark of this tree. Without fear, but filled with curiosity, you peek inside this bark, and you notice stairs leading downwards into the earth. And you decide to take this path that's put out before you, this path inside the tree. You begin walking with quick, light steps, and the stairs twist, first to the right and then to the left. And then you see candlelight. Candlelight on the walls, lighting your way. You know somebody and something is waiting for your arrival. As you make your descent downward, your heart starts racing. You're wondering what awaits you below. And now you have come to the end of the stairs that opens up into a wide cave. Your feet are now standing on a bed of sand. You can feel how soft and cool the sand feels on your feet. You hear in the distance the cawing of some crows. You know that they are calling to you. To the right of this cave, there's another path, this time going upwards. No stairs, just a slanted path. You know that this is the path that you are to take. You follow that path, and very quickly there's another opening, but this time into the forest floor. It is bright, filled with sunlight, but it's a different kind of light. It's an unfamiliar light. It is golden and bright, but different from what you know. Nevertheless, you enter into that space with excitement and anticipation. You see the trees, the moss. As you watch the walls of trees before you, they start to part magically. They move to the side. On both sides, they are separating, and into center, you see the source of this beautiful, warm, golden light. It is a big, golden ball of light and energy. It is hovering above the ground, about 10 or 20 feet above the ground. And as you look at this golden ball, it starts to vibrate and shake, and then it emits a beam of light towards you. Very, very slowly, you can see the light approaching towards you. You are not afraid, but you're excited. You're in anticipation. You already feel the warmth and the energy of this light coming towards you. You feel that this is benevolent and kind, so you welcome it. You stand there with your arms open, eyes locking with the golden ball, and the beam of light is approaching, coming closer and closer and closer. And as this beam of light comes closer, you see that it has many, many shades of red, of purples, of greens and blues and yellows, all different colors. It's now approaching closer and closer to your heart. And at once, it touches your chest and it locks in. You feel an overwhelming sense of peace, an overwhelming sense of calm. You feel warm. You feel love. You feel surrounded by blessings. You hear soothing sounds all around you. And this goes on for minutes. And then the beam of light dissolves, leaving behind a sprinkle of sparkly dust. Your eyes are still locked on it with the ball of golden creative force. And suddenly you realize this is the ball of creativity and inspiration. It has just transmitted to you infinite inspiration, infinite wisdom, infinite creativity, infinite intuition. It has just left you with a particularly important message, a leading. Take this time and open your heart and mind to know this message that this ball of light has given you. Where is it leading you? What is the message it has for you? Perhaps that it's an answer to a question that you have been asking. Is it the inspiration you have been seeking? Is it pushing you forth to miraculous things? As you feel this experience, you know that anything you embark upon will be filled with ideas, with solutions, with inspiration, because you know this message is God-given. This golden ball is now slowly moving away, but it leaves with you all those feelings of peace, of harmony, of love, of inspiration, of the knowing that you are connected. The ball slowly moves away, and the wall of trees is coming back together, very slowly, like curtains closing up the stage. And you know now that it's time to come back home. But you feel so much gratitude for being here, gratitude for the message that's been given you, and the knowledge that you can come back here anytime. You can always come back here to connect to your source of creativity and inspiration. You can always reconnect with this ball of golden light. With the warmth still in your heart, you turn around, walk down that sloping path into the cave, feeling the sand on your feet again. You find your way back into the stairs. You go through the candlelit stairs that lead you back up to the bark of the tree and out onto the original path. The hole in this tree now closes up as if there was nothing there before. Now it looks like an ordinary tree, but you know that each time you approach this tree, the door will again open for you. You take a deep breath in and walk back to the starting path of your trail, feeling light, feeling inspired, feeling happy, feeling grateful. You know you have connected with the universal intelligence, with universal love and power. You know now how this intuition feels and how God is wanting to speak with you. And then very slowly, you come back into this room of where you are and back into your body. You continue to feel the gratitude for this connection and for the messages that it has given you. And you make a commitment to act on that leading and on that message. As you feel all these feelings, I invite you to take some deep breaths. Begin slowly moving your body, your legs, your arms, your feet, your neck. And as you're back into this room and back into your body, you can slowly open your eyes and know that God is always speaking to you, always giving you wisdom, always showing you path. And so it is. Amen.